guys, welcome to another edition of Point Taken, where we engage with eminent figures across sectors on major topics pressing in Hong Kong. Today, I'll be speaking with Christine Lo, a former Hong Kong legislative councillor from 2012 to 2017. She was Undersecretary for Environment in the HKSAR government. We'll cover the road to carbon neutrality for China and Hong Kong's environmental target goals. Christine Lo, thank you so much for joining me today. Xie Zhonghua, China's top climate envoy, spoke at a webinar on August 3rd, which you organized and moderated. So what were some of the important points that he expressed about China's climate policy?
Well, let me say that Mr. Xie, he's the highest ranking official in China and the highest ranking diplomat on climate change negotiation for China. So obviously he is extremely authoritative. The way he structured his speech was interesting because he started off by kind of reminding everybody that China made these pledges. It was the president of China. He did it at the United Nations. So this is like a promise to the world, where he said China will peak carbon by 2030 and that China will achieve carbon neutrality by 2060. Then he spelled out the structure of Chinese politics, where they want to emphasize, I think, to everybody that when we make such a promise, we're going to get it done. What they usually do is they form what is called a leading small group. And this group is chaired by one of the top leaders in China. So once you have one of these small groups, basically the top leadership watches everything to make sure things are implemented. And then Mr. Xie went into a 10-point plan. So what he's really saying to the world is China is ready for prime time in rolling out a big plan for achieving its climate goals. And then at the end of the talk, he actually talked about how China also looked at international discussion.
I want to shift the focus to Hong Kong now. Do you think the city is doing enough with regards to meeting their environmental targets that they've set? Hong Kong has already reached its carbon peak in 2014, and the government is committed to carbon neutrality by 2050.
We have to replace it. We are going through a replacing process for coal with natural gas. Very important for Hong Kong to have set a target. Hong Kong already having achieved carbon peak by 2014. It means that now we want it to keep coming down steadily. The other thing that Hong Kong did in 1997 was it made a decision then not to build more coal plants. So this is very important for Hong Kong. Being a developed city, I think we were right to decide at the time not to build more coal plants. But it meant that as we retire coal plants in Hong Kong, so natural gas has about half of the carbon of coal. It is, of course, still a fossil fuel. So the thing to go forward on is by about 2033, Hong Kong will have switched over all the coal to natural gas. So the question between around 2033 and 2050, when we need to reach carbon neutrality, is what are we going to replace the gas plants with? So first of all, we're going to have to work with China. Hong Kong is going to see if we can buy clean energy from China. Might be nuclear. It might be a mix of nuclear and renewables. It might also be some kind of new fuel. And the sexy thing that Hong Kong is talking about today is hydrogen. The second thing is we got to save energy. You know, everybody's got to save energy. So that means, I mean, in Hong Kong, for a city, you know, we have a lot of tall buildings. 70% of our electricity is actually used in buildings. So it's really, really, really important for us to make sure the use of energy in buildings is going to be much, much more energy efficient.
I wanted to get your input on ESG and green finance, which are two hot topics, as you know very well. And in China, about 41 sustainable bond transactions worth $19 billion were recorded in the first 6 months of this year, compared to 23 deals worth $7.6 billion in all of last year. And in Hong Kong, the Monetary Authority rolled out a 3-year grant scheme that subsidized bond insurance issuance expenses for first-time green and sustainable bond issuers. Is Hong Kong doing a good job in capitalizing on these hot topics?
I think Hong Kong is doing a fair job. When we talk about green finance, what we're really talking about is, can we divert the money that is going into high carbon and also more polluting more environmentally polluting projects and divert them into low carbon and cleaner projects. That's what it's about. Hong Kong has already started because we now have a target. And as far as China is concerned, there are many, many plans coming. But Hong Kong is also the regional financial center. That means the region. We help mainland China, we help the Asia Pacific region to raise money for capital projects. So apart from the traditional projects, there's more and more attention going into green projects. So what is ESG and all this about? So obviously you're lending money to an entity, to a company. And the company is in a way making pledges that their projects are going to be green. They're raising green loans. So companies also are being asked to disclose more and more information about their environmental performance, their social performance, and their governance performance. This is a whole new set of metrics.
It's still at its early stages right now, right? The whole idea of ESG, and it's a constantly ever evolving thing. So
that's right. So I think for Hong Kong to really capitalize on green finance, we need to truly understand the market in China, because we're helping China to raise green finance, and being really savvy about putting deals together, putting cleaner deals together, and promoting things like ESG reporting, where Hong Kong's capability can be shown to the investment world to be of high quality.
Christine Lo, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me.
Thank you very much.